Hello and welcome. So, what if I told you that resilience is the greatest wealth you will ever own? More valuable than money in the bank, and yes, more reliable than titles, possessions. Resilience is the wealth that sustains you when everything else feels uncertain. And today, we're going to explore why I call it resilience wealth. And yes, you can start investing in it right now. And it doesn't cost you any money. Where else are you going to get that? Just imagine. Welcome if you're listening on Facebook, on Instagram, you are on YouTube. My name is Joyce Odidison, and I am host of the Resilience Catalyst Show. And I'm a workplace wellness pioneer, conflict analyst, creator of the Wellbeing Intelligence System. Intelligence. Don't we want intelligence in our life? This is the ability for you to understand and uncover the things that are holding you back from living the life, having the relationship you desire. You see, what I see is that most people, they just want somebody to write them a prescription. This is what you have to do. We see people who are doing well, they're successful, and we imagine, I hear people say, oh, must be nice, they're doing so well, they've never had the problems, they didn't have to face what I faced. Hell no, they had to face the obstacles too. The reality is they found out their resilience index and they championed it. That's what you need to do. And that's my mission. My mission is to help you to understand your resilience index. I'm not talking about going to the doctor and getting a prescription for pills. Yes, there are times that we need prescriptions. We need medical prescription. But there are times that we're getting it when we don't need it. We just think we want it. And the RX we need is our resilience. We need it socially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. You need it occupationally. All those terrible things you tell yourself about your job and your boss and your coworkers, you are taking away from your resilience bank account every day with those negative thoughts. And as a leader, when you are not showing up and giving your people what they need to perform, you are on the resilience negative. And so today I want to help you understand why my mission is to help 1 billion people to write their own RX. Yes, that's your resilience index. It's not a prescription. You're not going to get a pill. You're going to learn how to live your life so you build resilience wealth. You see, what happened is too often we are waiting. Oh, somebody show me what to do and I'm going to do it. Why do you have a brain? We have brains. God has given us brains so we can solve the problems of life. And yes, we need mentors. Yes, we need coach. I'm a master certified coach. Hello, I am all into yes. We need coaches. We need mentors. But we need to step up and do the work to build our resilience and to live a masterful life. Whether you're a professional, you're a leader, you need to reclaim the health, the relationship, the career, the purpose that you need, because without that, you're not going to have the kind of resilience index that will help you to sustain the challenges of life. This podcast is your weekly dose of resilience strategies. I want to help you thrive without sacrificing your well-being. We don't have to work as hard, folks. We don't have to wait until we're sick in the hospital and really need a prescription for medication and be hospitalized for us to build our resilience. Part of building your resilience is your purpose. If you don't have a purpose to wake up in the morning, the universe doesn't like void. If you're not purposeful, your life will be filled up with a lot of things that you don't want. Yes. And I see it every day. I'm speaking to leaders who are struggling with their health. They're struggling at home in their personal lives. They're struggling with their employees. They're struggling with their kids. And I'm like, what the heck? What are you putting out there? Come on. Let's bring it back. Let's refocus. Find out your resilience index. Understand all these hidden little things that are preventing you from getting to where you need to go and fix it. See, when most people hear the words wealth, they think of finances, they think of possession or material security. But I've learned over nearly 3 decades of coaching leaders and professionals that true wealth is something deeper. It is deeper. It is the resilience to bounce back when life throws you off course, because it's going to. It's like, hello, let's face it, it's going to. It's the strength to rebuild after a setback. And I am not saying that we cannot get help. Like when I was growing up, I was one of 4 children. I was the third of 4 children. And guess what? I was the sickly one. I was the one nobody expected me to live to be a teenager. I remember I see myself as a little kid. I had a handful of medication. And I grew up in the Caribbean. So we were not getting the new medication. We're getting the ones that were probably no longer used in the first world nations. I was taking all these medication. I had all kinds of ailments. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. I would be running from doctor to doctor to doctor. I remember being in the hospital as a kid and seeing my parents walk away and they leave me there. And I was back at the hospital by myself. We don't have to stay stuck in this situation. There are so many things we can do. So if you're listening to me right now and you're dealing with illnesses and you're dealing with broken relationships, either with your children, your spouse, your boss, your coworkers, you hate where you work, you don't feel like you're being treated fairly. I know, I get you. I get you. I have been there. I didn't just wake up this morning and be healthy. No. And by the time they figured out what was wrong with me, I had a pen. I think by the time I was 21, I had like 4 surgeries already. Everything on my body was tested. And it wasn't until I really honed into my resilience that I was able to say enough is enough. All these illnesses are in the past. I am focusing on the future and I'm going to live a long, healthy life. I had to tell myself that. But just telling myself that without the tools, without the knowledge, without the insight, just wasn't doing that. And that's why I created the Wellbeing Intelligence System. It gives you the resilience to bounce back because, so often we forget that we have the ability. We don't have to settle for the things that show up in our lives. They're coming to test us. They're there to ask, are you really sure? Are you really committed to that goal you set for yourself? Are you really committed to be that person you dream of being? That's what these tests are telling us. And if you are right now sitting in your office or you're looking at your employees' performance and you're thinking, this is not what I signed up for, this is your test. And this is where you need to say to yourself, I need to do something different. This is my test. I deserve to have employees who can fulfill their job. And I'm going to move every stone so they get every access they need to what they need to be healthy. You see, what often happens is leaders write off their employees. They say, this person is not going anywhere. You need to behave better. You need to do this. Go ahead and improve your communication. What nonsense. If that employee knew how to improve their communication, wouldn't they have done it already? So we send them to a course. And now everything is virtual. I have no problem with that. But we send them to a course and we send them to take the course, go ahead and take the course and come back and implement. When you send them for the course, give them a task. The next staff meeting, they need to now share with their colleagues what they've learned and how we can all implement it into our workplace. This is how we're building resilience wealth, because they need to learn and be able to share. They also need to learn and make it part of their new reality. And that's the fastest way to learn. Some say it's by coaching, but actually by teaching, it is the fastest way to learn. And research shows that. One of the things you have to think about is your resilience bank account. Think of your resilience like a bank account. Every stressor, every unresolved conflict, every sleepless night is a withdrawal from your resilience bank account. Yes, some people don't even sleep. I'm getting messages at 2 a.m. in the morning and I'm looking at the time zone, and this person is in the same time zone as me. And I know they're not working shift work. And I'm like, what are you doing up at 2 a.m. in the morning? How is your body, how is your brain going to shed the dead cells? That's what sleep does. It gives your brain the ability to clean out the dead cells. That's why nothing is going on up here for some people, because they're not sleeping. So all they do is when they start to feel the repercussions, they go to their doctor for a prescription. Prescription is not going to save your life or change your reality if you are not doing your part. You can take all the medication. They can give you the best medication, except you decide to do the things that will elevate. The prescription alone is not going to do it. You may need rest on a prescription. You may need more fluid with your prescription. You may need more exercise. You may need a healthier diet. So what else do you need to do with your prescription? That's why we measure in 9 dimensions with the well-being intelligence, because you know what happened? We have a lot of information, but not enough knowledge. We have information galore on the planet. We can ask any question and get information, but do we know how to make that information part of who we are? Do we know how to absorb that information and now execute it in a way that we can live the best life possible? That's what it is. Every healthy habit, every supportive relationship, every moment of restoration is a deposit in your resilience bank account. The problem is that most of us are running on overdraft. Yeah, not enough sleep, conflict with our boss, not getting along with our employees, not getting along with our coworkers, hate our job, just carrying that hate. You know, I did one of the challenges that I run is the emotional wellness cleanse. It's where we're cleansing all of these toxic emotions out of our bodies, right? And I'll be doing it in my upcoming masterclass, where we're really going to focus on resilience wealth in all the 9 dimensions. So you don't just have information, you have knowledge. To have knowledge is to know. To know is that knowing, that internal wisdom that allows you to execute and to act wisely. Most of us are running on overdraft. We keep withdrawing without making any deposits. Or we might make one deposit and then we withdraw. Like we're on overdraft, right? And then we wonder why burnout, illness, mental illness, strained relationships show up in our work, in our life, in our communities. We have these strained, unhealthy relationships in our marriages because we're lazy. It takes discipline to make those deposits. Discipline. That means I'm going to do it whether I feel like doing it or not, because it is the right thing for me right now. I'm like, that's what it takes. First, if you go to your doctor and they give you a prescription and they say, take every morning before breakfast, and you just decide, I don't feel like doing that. I'll just take it whenever, if I feel like it. Then you won't get the benefit of it. That's why we need to take care of our lives, take care of what we're doing. Hi, Stella. Absolutely. We absolutely have to do what's necessary. If you're not taking those things, if you're not showing up, when you're running an overdraft, when then you wonder, why am I burning out? Why are things happening? Honey, that's life. These are principles that we live by. The RX method and the WIS diagnostic, I created those because just like a prescription for healing, it starts with a diagnosis. And in 2006, when I first created the wellness assessment, it was just an assessment. All you did was get a number. Okay, I do measure all these areas and I got a number. I got the WIS. This is what I did. This is my WIS score. But now you had to figure out what you had to do with it. With the WIS 90 diagnostic assessment, we go beyond that. Just like a prescription for healing, it starts with a diagnosis. We can't fix what we don't understand. If you go to the doctor and you say, "Doctor, I'm just here because I don't feel good," he's just going to look at you. "Oh, well, tell me more about it." Because he cannot give you a prescription if he doesn't understand or she doesn't understand what your problem is. You have a responsibility to take notes, to journal. This is how I feel when I wake up in the morning. This is unusual. This is not the way I'm supposed to be feeling. This has changed. This is different. Then your doctor can make an informed decision and give you the right prescription. So what we've done with the WIS 90 diagnostic assessment, it helps you to see exactly where your resilience wealth is leaking. It measures across 9 dimensions. So we do spiritual, social, emotional, occupational, intellectual, environmental, financial, physical, and interpersonal. And when you know your lowest dimension, you know where to focus your deposits. So, hello, you know where to work. You can't fix all of them one time, but I always encourage my clients. They would show up, and when we used to do it on the booklets, and they would, before we had it as a platform, they would go in the booklet and they would do it. And they would say, "Joyce, I don't like my numbers." And I'm like, when you know what to fix, you start. And I usually say to them, "Okay, we can't fix them all one time. So let's pick the easiest one to fix." And once we get to work on that one and accelerate our scores and move ourselves from where we are to where we want to go, we're now motivated to work on the toughest ones. So it's just like humans. We work on the ones that are easiest to fix and then move on. We start to build momentum. When you know your lowest dimension, you know where to focus your deposits. That's how you stop living in resilience overdraft and start building resilience wealth. Because without it, we're like sitting ducks. We just fall apart. And it literally happens. I see it every day. Without purpose, without vision, without focus, we start to lose our resilience. And that is why we focus so much on the spiritual assessment. The spiritual dimension is one of the first one we encourage you to measure because it gives you your purpose, your passion. What is a human without purpose and passion? Hey, I'm a Bible believer. And in the Bible, it says when there is no salt, if something doesn't have salt, it's to be tossed out. It has no taste. And when you've lost your purpose and your passion, you've lost your salt. Then you're useless on the planet. Find your purpose and your salt. Here's my challenge to you. Take the time, just 5 minutes today, and ask yourself, what is draining my resilience bank account right now? What small deposit can I make today? Maybe it's pausing. Maybe it's taking a walk, having a courageous conversation, something that's been bugging you, somebody that's been annoying you, a boundary you need to set that you've been putting off, a conversation you need to have that you've been worried, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? or simply saying no more, right? Or it's committing to something. You can't live life like this. My mother used to say, you need something to align with, or then you're good for nothing. You have to find something that you're passionate about. Otherwise, you've lost the zeal for life. And when you lose the zeal for life, what happens? You start losing life. That's it. It's a simple life principle. And you need to do it. Every deposit counts. And don't wait for heaven to open and the answer to be written in the sky. That doesn't happen. There's no one coming to save you. You need to RX your own life, and you need to take that step today, and you need to do it. If you're ready to discover your personal resilience index and see where your strengths and your gaps are, then, hey, you need to do that assessment. You need to look at, where the heck am I draining my energy? Where am I losing energy? Where do I need to refocus? Where do I need to align my passion and my purpose? This is what we need to do. You need to get your own resilience index. Understand the scores, understand the skill, start building resilience wealth in your life, because life is very short. And without resilience wealth, I'm sorry, it's a losing battle. You start struggling with your health. You start struggling with your mental health. You start struggling in your relationship. You start struggling everywhere in your life. It just takes one area to break down, and everything it's like a domino. It's just like crumbling. And before you know, you're just trying to patch things up there. You need to stop, focus. This is what's important to me. This is what I'm going to do. This is where I want to be. This is my passion. This is my purpose. And as a result, these are the actions I want to take. These are the areas and the skills I need to develop. I know some people who actually lack discipline in their life. Everything is too hard. Oh, it's too hard. Oh, it's too much work. Hello? Life is tough. It takes discipline to live a good life. So if you want to actually live a resilient, purposeful, passionate life, where you wake up every morning knowing what you're called to do on this planet and what you're supposed to do, then you need to RX. You need the right life RX. Not a prescription pill to take. You need a prescription for life. So thank you for tuning in today to the Resilience Catalyst. I feel really passionate about this. If this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend. Subscribe, leave a review so someone else can discover the resilience and understand their true resilience wealth. Because resilience is true wealth. And remember, resilience is the wealth that no one can take away from you. Hello? Nobody can take this away from you. It's yours. You build it, you have it for life. So thank you for tuning in. Until next week, this is Joyce Odidison, host at the Resilience Catalyst Show, and it's been a pleasure sharing with you. Send your questions, send your thoughts, leave your comments. I look at every one of them. Till next time.